I'm Steve Jones and I ride and write for Dirt magazine. What I'd like to talk about are the basic skills involved in downhill mountain biking, or mountain biking generally. There's strength and fitness, there are riding skills, confidence and equipment. If you look at all the top riders, particularly the ones that you see on this film, I think they'll have each of those 4 skills and they'll have them dialed to quite a high level. Whatever your ability on riding a mountain bike is, there's millions of things you can pick up off this video. Watching as well is really important when you go through it. Very subtle things, how maybe their shape on the bike and how balanced and relaxed they look on it. So all throughout this video is going to give you the key skills that will enable you to get the confidence to go from like rocks to roots and do different things, and to ride them with confidence.
My name's Justin Abuchanan and we're doing manualing right now, and basically the key to the manual is finding the balance point on the back wheel where the bike doesn't tip over or the front wheel doesn't drop to the ground. And the way you control that is by using your body weight, leaning back and forth and moving side to side, and then the key factor is the rear brake. You want to feather that brake so you don't flip backwards. The manual is extremely important for all aspects of riding, just from street riding to going off a curb or up a curb and then downhill over rocks and logs. The sit-down wheel is different from a manual in the way that you're pedaling to lift the bike up and then controlling it with pedaling as well. The manual, all you're controlling is with the brake and then your body position on the bike. The manual is harder just because it's harder to find that, to get to the balance point where the bike wants to stay. The manual is more versatile when you're riding because you don't need to worry about having a pedal stroke to lift the bike up, or you're not sitting down as well, so your body is able to move around and you can pull it anytime you want. Bunny hop is extremely important because it's used everywhere just like the manual. It's a good technique to know to get you out of trouble over rocks, over logs and street riding. The simplest way to do the bunny hop is a combination of pushing down with your feet on the pedals and of lifting up with the handlebars and pushing forward with your body weight to get the back wheel off the ground. A good way to learn is picking a point on the ground, say a rock, and trying to pick the bike up over that. Speed does help, but you don't want to be going too fast either.
Such a wide variety of things to cover with riding skills. But what you want to do is you want to become an all-round good bike rider. You look at the guys in this video, and they're not just downhill riders. They're really good at lots of different stuff. Rob Warner, Oscar Seiss, fantastic trials riders. Greg Minnarr, Sam Hill, motocross riders. They've been really good at those sports. Gracia, BMX rider. That's the great thing about the sport, is that you've got to be really good at lots of different aspects.
Alright, I'm Nathan Rennie, I ride for Santa Cruz Syndicate, and I'm just standing on a very typical mountain bike corner, which is a 180-degree flat corner. I'm just going to take you through a couple of the techniques that might help you a little bit. Flat corners are something you often come across on a mountain bike, whether it be a four-cross track or downhill, and you usually find them in a 180-degree turn. It can be quite difficult, but if you nail it, you can really get a good feel for the bike. You really got to be confident in the turn. It's all about set up for the turn and carrying your momentum through. Coming into this area of the turn is the braking area and also the setup area. You want to set out as wide as possible, but you also want to only brake in a straight line. So set up wide, brake, then off the brakes for the rest of the turn. When your bike's rolling, that's when your bike's getting traction, and as soon as you touch either front or rear brake, I'm sure you know, you've probably gone down once or twice. Right, immediately after braking is when you should start to lean the bike into the turn. You really want to keep your knees bent, you don't want to have them straight. Pedals kind of flat, but then you can kind of like lead your back foot down a little bit for a bit of control. You want to stay on the same angle through the whole entire turn, trying to get as close to the inside as what you can, because you've already set up to the outside. As soon as you get jerky, that's when you can start to make mistakes or put a foot down or straighten your legs, or inside foot will come off. On the exit of the turn, don't be afraid to use as much track as possible. You can end up on the very outside of the track, because you're going to carry the most speed that way, because you use as much of it as you can. As soon as your bike is kind of starting to come up out of the turn, straight on the pedals to the next corner. Be in the right gear as well when you're coming in.
Well, today I think we're going to look at the darker arts of downhilling or bike riding. Things kind of people don't really talk about too much. So we do some skidding. Okay, so first we'll try a left. So you're leaning the bike over, keeping your body vertical. And then a right, so you switch your feet. Or maybe switch your feet outside. And then keep your outside foot. Keep your outside foot down. I think it's important to practice them to get used to the feeling of your bike getting out of shape underneath you at all different kinds of speeds, fast, slow. Doesn't matter what bike you got. Actually, the shittier the bike, the better. So our old hardtail with dodgy tyres, kind of hard compound tyres. Doing a downhill bike with loads of grippy tyres, it just doesn't work. So the rubbisher the bike, the better, really. Look at the beginning of the Earth video. There's like the Don, or there's Will Longdon coming in the corners flat out with the back end going. You'll see it's just the back end is moving sideways, the front end is keeping in a straight line. So it's just getting used to exactly what the bike is doing in those circumstances. If you look at like rally drivers, it's good enough for them. They come in the corners locked up one way then the other way. So if they can do it, I'm sure guys on bikes can do it. It's the international language of mountain biking, skidding. And another thing which I learned about it, it's a bloody good laugh. Really fun.
Bryn Atkinson, Team Maket's Iron Horse, here to tell you about how to hit this turn pretty quick. Okay, so there's a lot of support in this berm, so you can really just go nuts with it. First, the turn before it is actually pretty important, because if you come in too inside on this first turn, you'll end up way outside here and then you'll be all jacked for the next turn. So you just want to get that turn nice and solid, not too fast, and pop out nice and early. Come up reasonably high, not too high, and sort of hit the apex a little bit and just weight the inside bar and your outside foot. And the sooner you look out, the better, because then you just start pedaling. And especially on a turn like this where there's a big straight, it's always good to have nice exit speed, so you can make up a lot of time on a straight like that. Yep, so don't worry if you don't get it first time, so just keep pushing with it and it only gets better. Another thing us Aussies work on a fair bit is some flat turns, because if you're comfortable drifting on gravel road or anything like that, you're pretty confident in just about any turn. So it's something that I practice a lot. Just cutties is what we call them. Okay, my name is Justin Havikainen and we're doing cutties. Basically, you want a bit of speed, lean the bike over, and you want your weight over the front. The whole idea is to get the back wheel drifting without using the rear brake. So you want to have a lot of faith in getting the slide happening and controlling it with your front wheel. Leaning over the front is a key, because it keeps the weight on the front of the bike and unweights the rear wheel.
Strength and fitness, huge subject. I don't really want to talk about it too much, but it's vital. I mean, it's vital if having fun in your bike, really. Dirt jumpers, that's a lot of their strength is upper body strength, and they, building the tracks is their upper body training. It's just a perfect combination, really. Watch how fast, like Peat, he's pedaling the end of a 5-minute track. He's just going like a lunatic, and it's just bananas. I mean, nobody can do that, and you don't get to be able to sprint that fast without doing a lot of work beforehand. Steve Peat, that is the ultimate of physical ability. But Warner's got a training program. All top riders have got training programs. Warner's might be on a sheet of A4 paper and says do 50, 100 press-ups and stuff like that, or go and ride his trials bike, go and ride trails. You're always doing something. There's always some physical element involved in what these guys do.
It don't make no sense, man. Eventually, that's gonna catch up with you, and if you can't fight.
Hey, Greg Minnarr, 22 years old from South Africa. Today we're looking at how to do the switchbacks. We've got a left-hander and a right-hander. You want to start off on your best foot and do the first left-hander properly so you can get the second one better. There's no point rushing into the first one and messing up, because you're gonna mess up the second corner. So you want to have the feet level, brake early so you can set up, get a little bit wider, kind of be in the center of your bike, feel all loose, and carve into the berm and cut up to carve into the right-hander, so you can set yourself up good. The two key braking areas are just before the left-hander, between the left-hander and the right-hander, but not in the corner, or else you're going to scrub before your speed. You want to carry good speed through the section. A good way to practice this is by putting 2 cones in your garden and just carving around them. But if you want to be extra good, put 2 rose bushes next to each other, because I'm sure you'll get the corner better.
I said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Hello, can you hear me?
I'm Chris Powell, and I'm here today to tell you how to get through a rhythm section. You know, every rhythm section that you go to, every set of whoops on any track are going to be different, obviously, but the #1 thing to do is just to stay calm and relaxed. If you don't, you'll have no flow, and that'll equate to you getting passed. So when you're approaching the rhythm section, the best thing to do, especially if you're a junior or you're a less experienced rider, is just to pump through. And when you get to the backside of each jump, you have to make sure to push down with not only your handlebars, but your knees and your hips as well. When you're approaching the jump, you're not only pushing down on the transition of the jump, but you're gyrating up the lip as well. If you would imagine a skateboarder in a vert ramp, when you watch them ride, they pump down the transition, and then as they go up, they pump up as well. You can gain speed off of not only the upslope, but the downslope. Rolled in slow, and then use the pumping and the gyration off of the first 2 to be able to double out. When properly done, you can gain enough speed to jump a gap like this, or probably even longer. For intermediate riders that can't jump as well, and even for expert riders, if you can do it correctly, it's much faster than jumping. You want to roll the jump. So when you approach the jump, you stay loose around the middle, the center of your bike, and then as you get to the top of it, you lean back and you push with your hips and your knees and your feet down, and you get back towards the bike, and that'll naturally bring the front of the bike up, and you will roll through the double, and then you will get a good pump off of the transition of the rhythm section, and that'll help you gain speed as you go through. If you try and pull up with your handlebars, like as if you were doing a wheelie, a lot of people think that's how you roll a jump. You'll just get the front wheel up high, you'll come down, and you're gonna smack it right here, and you've just lost all your speed and probably crashed. So make sure to be using your legs to gain speed and to get the front wheel up. You don't need a rhythm section like this. You can practice this in your backyard. You can go to a parking lot, anywhere you want where you have flat open space. Just practice a manual. Practice getting back on your bike, getting the front wheel up, and finding your balance point, because it's the balance point that gives you confidence. And when you're confident with just riding a manual, you can bring that to any track and you can run it. Not all tracks are as smooth as this one here. Sometimes you'll find a track where the insides of the jumps are rough and bumpy, and you can't roll through them smoothly, and you can't get a good pump, so you have to jump through them. You have to stay calm and focused, jump, try and keep it as low as you can. When you jump, look for your landing, look for your backside, because when it's as tight as this, you don't want to be looking ahead, you want to be looking where you're going, right here. So you land here, get a good pump with your bike, pump the transition, and that'll give you the speed to launch the next one smoothly. And for this particular course, there's a corner right there that's 180 degrees and flat, so you're pretty much coming to a stop and then starting again. So on this kind of straightaway, you're going to want as much speed as you can coming into it, so you can carry speed through the finish and not get passed. So the professional technique would be to come through the turn, start pedaling, and then a few feet before the jump, get into a little bit of a pedal wheelie, and be able to continue pedaling all the way through until here when you set your tire down and then manual out. That way you've just gotten another 3 pedals into your competitor who probably stopped pedaling a few feet before here and is going way slower than you are. And it might be the same jumps, but you can sit around all day and come up with a new line. Hey, I want a double 2 triple out, or maybe I want a manual 3 double out, or manual the whole section. Whatnot. You can just have fun with your friends, you can practice, you can play, and you can come up with something new out of something ordinary.
So what we've got here is combination corner and change the direction. So you're approaching the left-hand corner, and even though you're going, when you're on the bike, even though you're going around the left-hand corner, that is subconscious. You should be done and dusted. What you're looking for is the corner coming after that. You should be looking towards that. I mean, this just comes with practice. There's a few things to remember. Is firstly your body position. Secondly, you shouldn't really necessarily have to worry about the roots that are on the track. That's what you're looking for is smooth arcs to your corners. It's the corner you're worrying about. You can let the roots and the bike deal with itself really. If you're keeping your focus on where you're going, that is the main thing. If you've got shallow turns like this, you shouldn't really be worried about the brakes too much. And a good way to practice it is to roll into it from a certain point and then go further back till you get into it, sort of pedaling as fast as you can. And you're going to do that switch over as smoothly as possible, so you're always keeping that traction on those tyres. So it's a very quick but smooth turnover. Doing it again and again and again and again. Maybe do this 20 times in an hour. It's the only way you're going to get the feel to it.
I'm Steve Peat, I ride for Orange England, and we're going to show you some setup lines, getting into a corner and getting out of a corner fast. When you're a pro racer, you've got to be good on every kind of turn, so it's good to go practice and try on different turns. I race all over the world and have to be good on every type of turn, so come out in the woods and find something where you just want to have a practice on, and this is a good example of what we've been doing, trying a couple of different lines coming in. One is to get out wide on the turn, do your braking before the turn, set up and get out wide, and then get off your brakes in the turn and rail the turn out of it, and carry more speed out of the turn into the next section of the track. But the other way is to come in faster on the main line, and then you tend to do a bit of braking in the turn, which is not really a good thing, but you'll come out a little bit slower, so then you'll have to grab a couple of pedals and get back up to speed. So it's your choice. Everybody's got a different way of turning, and you'll find your own way if you just go and practice. It's always a good thing to crash like that, because you know your limits. You go as fast as you can through a turn, and you keep going faster and faster until you have a little crash like that. Then you know to step it back a little bit and you've found your top speed. Nice one, Don. When you're just out riding or even racing, you can sit and watch a section and watch other riders go through and think, God damn, he's going fast, but you've got to find your own line and just ride the track. Don't look at what other people are doing too much. Find your own way around it and find what's comfortable for you. If you see someone looking good going through a turn, it might not necessarily be the best way to get through it, so go find your own way. Don't be a sheep. There's a couple of ways of turning, and depending on your style, I tend to stay clipped in, keep my feet up and lean the bike down between my legs. Me being a taller rider, my centre of gravity is a lot higher, so I've got that little bit more room between my legs and a bit more movement, longer arms to get the bike leant over and on the tyres. But someone like the Don, who's a little bit shorter, centre of gravity is lower down.
Yeah, I tend to just keep the bike, like me, sat upright with the bike at exactly the same angle rather than lean it in. So I guess I'm on the edge of the tyre all the time, rather than Steve can like push it more onto the edge if he wants to, or less. So maybe it's a bit more sketchy idea.
The Don's lower down, so he can get his foot out and get the back end drifting, which always looks good too. Craig Minnarr, 22 years old from South Africa. We're in Vail, Colorado. Today we're going to be doing the slightly hip double, which you guys are most likely doing most of your races or just playing in the forest. Our jump we've got today is kind of rough coming into it, so I like to get the braking done early, and you got to know your speed before you get to the jump, so you don't want to pedal up to it and you don't want to brake onto it. You want to do that all kind of where we are here, and so you can just roll into it and do the jump. Because we're doing a slightly hip jump, you're going to be turning up the face of it, not turning with the handlebars, but kind of leaning your bike into it. So you're going to be leaning into it and taking off, and because you're going to be carrying good speed, you want to push the bike down low. So once you've taken off and your bike has rebounded off this jump, you want to push it down so you make sure you land smoothly and don't over jump this jump. Once you're in the end, you've got the right pitch of the bike, so the angle you're going to land at. As soon as your bike hits down, you're going to compress just so you can get a nice pop or pump off the landing of the jump, give you a bit more speed going into the next section. Unlike racing where we have to squash the jump, when we're playing and having fun we can really pop off the lip. So how you do that is you come a little bit slower, come into the face of the jump, compress, bend your arms, bend your knees, and once you hit the lip of the jump, which is roughly where my foot is, pull up and get the bike into the air. Once you're midway through the flight, kind of put the front down, push down with your arms a bit just to get that front wheel down for the landing so you can land smooth and ride off perfectly. Well, obviously this jump is not going to be the easiest jump to practice on. It is slightly hipped and pretty big, so you know you're not going to get it first time, so practice on small jumps and build up. Go the next size up the following week once you've got the first one. So continue to practice and you'll finally get it.
My name's Neil Donoghue, we're at Woburn Trails. Some rhythm sections you need to pump through, and to do that best you want to be landing both wheels at the same time on the lip. The downsteps here are quite steep, so you want to be landing real nice, and it's all in the legs, like you want to keep your legs real stiff and like pump your legs to get the speed. And hold your arms and legs really kind of stiff and then push down and up the upside, hold them real stiff so you're using all your speed from the last jump. BMX tracks are really good for learning how to pump. You can go over speed jumps and rollers or even doubles and just manual and really kind of use your legs to pick the speed, especially through the bowls. These trails, like the trails we're riding here at Woburn, have real steep landings, so some of them you want to be standing tall in the upslope so you're going really high and nosing it in. With other jumps maybe that are a bit longer and you'll want to let the bike flow over the lip. When you want to squash a jump, maybe you're going to go too far, you kind of soak the lip up with your arms and push forward as you actually take off and then nose it in that way. Maybe with flat trails you have to pump more and flow through them and really pump every jump, whereas these you can kind of chill and just go high, and as long as you're landing front wheel down, nosing it into the slope, you'll get through it pretty good. For all those people maybe haven't ridden dirt jumps before, the best thing is to make your own and kind of start off small, maybe make a tabletop, and then just as you progress your riding, make the jumps a bit bigger and better, maybe take the mills out and start building trails. That's where everyone starts.
We don't care. We don't care if you don't. We don't care if you won't. We don't intend to be broke, so keep your eyes on me. We don't care if you don't. We don't care if you won't. We don't intend to be broke, so keep your eyes on me. We don't care. It's the return of the one-man army. Friends say I'm awkward, enemies say I'm balmy. The only way to draw me is to stroke my ego calmly. About to make my own movie just to get those superstar me. One-dimensional technicians really bore me. The best advice I can give you is brethren, go before me. My superpowers need 4 sheep to eat for me. I'm right here, live in the flesh, so reach for me. My fleet streets, beat streets, I'm sweet for me. The best advice I can give you is brethren, go before me. I used to rip a crowd for at least free entry. Bouncers used to screw when I said I weren't rhyming. Ghetto, chart climbing while bills escalate. People analyze the clothing just to see how much I make, huh? Coast to coast, we are the energetic genre. We throw fortune to the wind and toast drama. We don't care if you don't. We don't care if you won't. We don't intend to be broke, so keep your eyes on me. We don't care if you don't. We don't care if you won't. We don't.
Here we are at a drop-off, and this is one of the ways that you can approach a drop-off and get your wheels down on the floor as quick as possible. Basically, when you're approaching it, you come up and you lower your body into the bike, you suck up the bike a little bit, keep on going, and then as you get towards the end of the jump and as your wheels are about to take off the jump, you extend your body and your arms so your wheels hit the floor quicker. And I reckon we've got the Don coming to show us how it's done. This is how a pro does it. Perfect from the Don. Any type of rider can practice these type of drops. I mean, you've all got a curb outside the front of your house. You can start with that and then work yourself up to bigger stuff. Well, somebody like Greg Minnarr, who's got the nickname Big Air, he likes to pop off stuff and hit a backside and jump stuff, launch a lot of things. Where somebody like myself, I like to keep it on the ground and use the transitions to pump and try and get faster.
Sometimes it helps to maybe jump some rough stuff and find a nice transition to land on, so you can pick speed when you land. And I find when, say if I jump something in a race, I'm having more fun, so I usually ride faster and I'm having more fun anyway.
There's no right or wrong way to do any kind of gap or drop off or anything. There's your own style. Everybody's got a different style. When you watch the top pros, you'll check that out and see it.
Follow the light. The light is your guide.
I'm Richard Cunningham and learning how to do a pre-jump, coming in on a bit of a flat track and then dropping down away from you.
Okay, we're just doing the pre-jump, which is basically a bunny hop, but you're doing a bunny hop over an obstacle to land down a down ramp, and it's going to just be faster and smoother.
Yeah, you find it on a lot of tracks and it's something that'll take a lot of time after runs and everything. Just come in nice and steady on it. Just make sure, push your weight into the ground just before it. So the bike's all compressed in there, and then just lift up a bit and just let it float underneath you. Almost as if you're riding off it, but just with it floating just above it. And then just landing, you get a better pump off it.
Plenty of places where you can use the pre-jump, say over a log to a big drop, or if the jump's too small and you don't want to boost it, you jump over the width of the jump.
Just be able to hop up a curb or anything just to start. And then just progress from there, just like hop over things and stuff. BMX track's a good place to try, just like trails and all that, and run on the same sort of theory of like pumping into it and getting the motion right through it.
Be sure with the pre-jump to practice at different speeds where you're going to land, because you wouldn't want to over clear something if you're going too quick, and so you may want to jump from further back or jump last minute.
Quite a bit can go wrong if you sort of got it too short and didn't quite get onto the down slope. You could clip either wheel on the top of it, just like send you all on the piss for the next bit. Or you could just sort of jump too much, land at the bottom and miss out on the pump and everything for it, so just mess up the next corner. If you get it right, you come out with loads of speed and you haven't lost any time like floating through the air rather than sort of being on the ground. You can get a better grip into the corner as well if you've got a tight corner after it, and you can just keep your traction the whole way.
How's it going? I'm Sam Hill, I ride for Team Iron Horse Mad Cats. Just going to run you through a few things on this turn behind me. It's pretty important to pay close attention to line choice in practice, because the lines can change so much, and on this turn back here the main line's really whooped out and pretty rough, and if people looked a lot closer they'd see that there's a pretty smooth line the whole way around the outside. You might have to go a bit slower, but in the end run it's going to be, you're going to come out the same time around the turn. You're going to save a lot of energy. Your arms won't be as sore, you won't get as much arm pump, and just pays to look at lines in practice.
Hello, I'm Rob, ride for Team Giant. This is the Zeus MPS finals. This is a pretty tricky corner on it that's catching a lot of people out. There's loads of different options here. This wide one here makes it easy to get the inside line there, which carries you better in the next turn. But it seems to be a long way around. The bottom line's just out of the question. It's for pretty much the people who can't get over the log. The line you want to take is tight there and then over that log. But it's pretty tricky because you're hitting the log at such an angle, and there's a route on the far side that catches your front. So you're better to be a little slower, get your front out wide if you can remember, set up good, nice and slow, your front wheel wide, over this stump here, turn in and try and get high here, and the higher you are there, the easier that is. As long as you get your front clear and go light with your back, and don't catch the root on the other side, it's not a problem. It's actually a lot trickier than it sounds, because by here you're about 30 seconds in and there's a big sprint at the top, so you're hanging. But see, that line makes it easy, so it's such a long way around. I reckon it's like a second and a half miss that you're losing there. It's just too far around, I think. If you want to be really in contention, you've got to come there. That was it. He got away with that. His front wheel was right on that route. If I can do it that good in a race, I'll be happy.
Here he comes here right now. Timing out the road back, 142, 97. Oh! What a devastating crash out here.
There is no sport on earth where stuff in your head doesn't make a massive difference. Even the guys in this video, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, they used to have the bike skills and strength and fitness and stuff, but maybe they lack the confidence. It's only when they got the confidence is then they can really be able to step it up and go bananas and sort of come top 10 World Cup races. And whether you want to go out and win a race, you know, it's the confidence to go that extra little bit faster, the confidence will apply to your wanting to ride a section feet up or to kind of really nail a berm and stuff like that. It's all about the approach in your head and the desire to want to do it, I think. It doesn't matter if you're racing or if you're up on a cross-country loop or anything like that. It's all in your head.
Come and get me! Okay, pal.
We're just standing on the outside of a very high-speed turn, around about 70 k's an hour when you're coming in here. And we're just going to try and run through a little bit of a technique on getting through there, carrying the most speed as possible. As you can see on the entry to this corner, there's just mainly one rut, which isn't such a bad thing, but it looks to me as if everyone is going so fast that they're just going to follow the main rut. But as you can see on the outside of the entry of the turn, there's a lot of real estate there. There's a lot of grass that you can set up for this turn nice and wide. Don't be afraid to come out really wide because it is going to help you no matter what. It might only be a couple of feet, but you're definitely going to be able to carry a lot more speed through the turn if you set up wide, cut the apex, and again end out wide. So just be confident with it. Don't be afraid to explore out, even though if it's long grass or anything. You might want to check out like on the side, like if there's any holes or loose rocks in there just beforehand. Well, obviously it's a very fast turn and it's definitely going to test your nerve a little bit, but it's very important to stay confident in your ability. You really want to just lean in there, stay confident, know when your tyres are going to edge, and then stay there. Once again, no jerky movements at all. Just want to stay on the one nice little axis and trust your tyres. At very high speed, very rarely you're going to slide out simply because your tyres are rolling so much and getting a lot of traction. The tyres today are really good, so you got to hit it up. Keep on a nice angle, be confident, no jerky movements, stay off the brakes, and just get through there and you'll be out of there and you'll think it's just the best thing in the world. Hey, it's Nathan Rennie here. We're in Aspen, Colorado. Hopefully I've been able to help you out with a couple of cornering techniques and best of luck at the races.
But to express oneself honestly, not lying to oneself, and to express myself honestly, that, my friend, is very hard to do, and you have to train. You have to keep your reflexes so that when you want it, it's there. When you want to move, you're moving. And when you move, you're determined to move. Not taking 1 inch, not anything less than that. If I want to punch, I'm gonna do it, man, and I'm gonna do it, you see? So that is the type of thing you have to train yourself into it, to become one with the, you think?
Hiya, I'm Mark Beaumont, ride for Royal Orange. Here we are at basic route section here, a little bit slick. The boys are going to give it a try. Right, the main thing is on a route section steep like this, keep your weight over the back and try and stay light on all the routes so you don't slip out. Neil did it fairly well then, carried his speed all the way through, not stalling on any of the bumps. See the same again, it's a section a lot faster, hitting a bigger route and clearing some others as opposed to keeping his wheels light and just skipping over the top of them. And not too much on the front brake, causing your front wheel to slide out. Making sure to brake early on the dirt and not on the roots causing you to slip. This turn is quite steep as you go in, so keep your weight back, push your legs into ground to turn the bike. Always line choice is important. Picking a clear line for you to set up for the next turn. Like, not always the outside is the best to get the good line for the turn. Maybe the inside will be clearer and you can brake earlier still to make the turn. Just with that guy, as he is riding down, he's not relaxed at all. He's really heavy on his brakes and his body is all stiff. You need to be relaxed and just keep it all smooth. If you approach a route thinking you're going to slip, it's almost always the case that you do actually slip out on the route. If you believe you're going to grip or don't think about slipping, you usually get through and carry your speed. It's an off-camber left-hand corner with route vicious, very vicious routes all the way across. That was perfect by Ben then. You come into a cleaner line on the outside, used the turn well, and then went high across the routes, keeping his weight on his outside foot the same, and carried his speed through. If you do need to brake, you need to brake lightly and choose a clean spot where there are not so many routes. George Atherton is going to approach the section next. He's had a lot of experience from this, so he should know what he's doing. You just need to keep your weight back and try not to grab at your brakes, just like lightly feather them to slow you down. Okay, so he carried his speed in the same. He had trust in his tyres and also believing that he was going to grip all the way across. So he did it well, kept his weight on his outside foot and not braking too hard all the way through the section. Thanks very much for joining me in Leger in France. This is Route Techniques. Just keep practicing.
You've got to know how far you can take the bike really, and you've got to know, like, that's just pushing his trust. No, all he needs to do now is just bring it back a fraction and he'll get across there. When you're hitting each route, it's going to slow the bike down gradually. But that was ideal because Mark hopped over the route, so he's going to skip instead. You see those guys there? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. If you take that to its extreme, it's just going to make the bike stop. You're trying to get over them and make the bike flow onto flat split spaces. It's not slowing the bike down. Almost like a rhythm sort of section. Sometimes you can think too hard about routes and lines like that, and very rarely, maybe the sheep line where everyone else has followed might actually be the fastest line down. Because here it's quite good, there's like a massive rut and it's nice and smooth. It might be faster to go that way. You know, never discount that kind of obvious line or this line that everyone else takes.
How you guys doing? My name's Eric Carter. We're here in Sandpoint, Idaho, standing on the mountain cross course. I'm here to give you a few tips about my cornering techniques. What we're looking at here, this is the first straightaway. Obviously you can see the gate. It's pretty flat, but we were able to generate quite a bit of speed going into the corner. Right here you have the first corner. As you can see, it's very tight for 4 riders. And as evidenced by the different lines and the skid marks that are going into it, there was a lot of action here. For me, my goal was to get out of the gate, get in front, and I'm trying to ride to the high line and rail the corner and carry as much speed as I can. Sometimes you don't get the start that you want. You got riders on your inside, or you might even be behind, and obviously there's room to put block passes in here. You're checking up a little bit. Before you get into the corner, you're squaring across and you're kind of meeting the rider at the apex and kind of taking his line away. I was fortunate this week and I was able to get out front and rail the corner. When you're railing the corner, there's a braking point up here. We're gonna come over to the berm. I'll show you the braking spot. For me, my braking was primarily done in this spot, and it wasn't necessarily to slow the bike down as much as it was done to get the bike set in its attitude for the corner. I'd brake, lean the bike in a little bit, get the suspension set in, get the tires biting and hooked up, and then I'd start looking ahead through the corner. I've already done all my shifting down the straightaway. We're in the same gear that we're exiting the corner that we're entering the corner in, so didn't have to worry about any shifting or anything like that. After I'm done with my braking, I'm kind of keeping an eye on the inside, making sure that I don't got anybody coming in and kind of give me that block pass. If they are going to do that, I'm going to lean in a little bit, take that hit. Hopefully they're going to stand me up and I'm going to still continue on with a nice exit. If you don't have anybody coming in to give you a little shot in the side, you do your braking, you let off, you let the wheels roll through, and then you want to spot the apex. Right here is the apex of the corner. This is where you're going to feel the most G's. when you're railing the corner. What I try to do when I'm coming into a corner here on the apex, before I get to the spot where the bike wants to G out all the way, I kind of unweight the bike and try to be light with it, so that instead of the bike loading up and losing its speed as I G out in the corner, it kind of flows through that spot, and then I can continue on with my momentum after the heavy G out. This spot right here is where I would carry my speed through, and then right here I start looking down the course, so that that's where I'm going down the course, so I want to look ahead. And as soon as I look ahead, I'm able to stand up and accelerate and continue down the course. Hopefully, like I said, I don't have anybody coming in and giving me a block pass or interrupting my momentum, and I can continue to drive and just keep looking down the course and right in front of me. So those are my cornering tips. The highlights of that are, make sure you're in the right gear for the exit. Make sure you look ahead after the apex. Make sure you're braking in a straight line and not in the corner, and you're letting your tires roll through the corner. You're going to find that you're going to have much more exit speed, and your times and your ability to jump bigger jumps out of corners and stuff is going to be substantially greater. So I'm Eric Carter here in Sandpoint, having a good time. See ya.
The fourth element is equipment. Now, I don't want you to get me wrong on this. I mean, equipment is really important, but I think you can learn to feel good on whatever bike you've got. I mean, someone like Ben Reed is a classic example of, he's got an old bike, he feels good on it, he sticks with it, and I think that is the most important thing. But you can ride it, you can be riding a nail if you've got confidence and you're feeling good. That's the most important thing.
Hi, my name is Brian Schmidt. I ride for Hyundai Mongoose. Today we're talking about the gate start and the importance of it in 4-cross. Basically, getting a good start is giving you advantage to control the race. You get out front, you can choose the line that you want, get into the faster groove, and a lot of times on the mountain cross courses, there's just one line that's really fast. And if you're not in that, you're going to get left behind, so you definitely want to get out in front and control the race. Here at Norba, we have a random start, which means it can drop anywhere from 0 to 7 seconds. So you really got to have a good start technique and have a quick snap. Get the advantage on the guys and move over if you have to. Then you have the World Cup Series, which has a set cadence. The gate drops at a set time, so you can time it a little bit better. That evens it out a little bit, I believe. Guys can go to the local BMX track or buy a gate and do starts themselves, and you can slingshot a little bit, move back and get your body weight moving before the gate actually drops. So some of the key factors in doing a good start is pedal positioning, where your body's positioned forward or backwards. You know, usually I stand right over my bottom bracket. I keep my arms extended and my toe pointed a little bit. Keep a lot of pressure on the starting gate, especially for the random drop ones. When I'm doing the set cadence, I'll slingshot back a little bit, pick up my front wheel, and try to have it on top of the gate as it's falling down. That way I'm out as fast as I possibly can. It's good to get a good snap, that's very important, but even more important than that is your body positioning. You want to throw your hips forward when you come out of the gate, but then you got to get back behind your pedals so that you're pulling on the handlebars and pushing on the pedals and delivering your power efficiently to your rear wheel. You want to keep your rear wheel hooked up, so you got to have your body weight back, and that allows you to actually push forward on the pedals. If you get lean too far forward, what happens is your back wheel starts swapping around and you're not as strong in a leaned over position. So it's important to really focus on thrusting your hips forward and then getting back behind your pedals and delivering the power. When you get into the gate, you got to be ready to win, think win, and believe that you're going to win. Look to the first turn and know that you're going to be there first, and that's what you got to be thinking about. The actual start has to be natural, secondary thing that's happening. You're going to be laying down your power, but your focus is on the first turn and getting there so that you actually accelerate. One thing that you don't want to do is get psyched out. Say you're in the gate next to Eric Carter, Lopes, Prokop. You don't want to be thinking about those guys. All you want to think about is getting a solid start, getting back behind your pedals, and laying down the power and thinking about that first turn and absolutely destroying those guys to the first turn. If you're not thinking in that way, you're going to get left behind for sure.
You see how cool, calculated, in control, fast and professional that guy looked? Well, you want some tips how to ride like him? The off-camber mud, you got to weight your outside foot, try and get on the edge of the tyres and get your centre of balance right, but you got to be perfect weightedly to your outside foot and to your inside edge of your tyre. If there's a rut on an off-camber section, then you have to think about whether you're going to hit that rut or not. I'd say it is better to stay in the rut because that's going to give you a little bit of stability for your tyres to stay up and stay up against the hill. If you're out of that rut, you got a lot more chance of your tyres ripping out and sliding away from you. So go for the rut, keep your outside pedal weighted, get your tyre digging into the edge of the bank. Use your bike between your legs to keep balancing and making the tyres grip, and look straight ahead, get to the point where you want to be. If you're getting cross-rutted in any kind of tracks while you're out riding, be it Land Rover tracks or a rut or any kind of thing, you're getting cross-rutted, the best thing is to try and get your weight over the front tyre, let the back end come light, which should hopefully track back into your front wheel, and keep looking ahead. Don't look down at your wheels and look what's happening to your back wheel. Always keep your vision looking forward and get your weight over the front tyre, make that grip and dig in, so your back wheel will hopefully follow that.
The rough stuff is the faster you go, the smoother it is to sit on top of those holes. So that's what I kind of try to do, is carry good speed onto the rough section, so you kind of got on top of the holes instead of dipping into each other.
Pretty much just the faster you go, the easier it's going to be. I mean, a lot of people are trying to slow down through there so the bumps aren't so bad, but as soon as you do that, you kind of get a lot of arm pump because you're kind of holding yourself up instead of just riding across the top of the bumps. So I think you just got to stay nice and over the front wheel as much as you can and go as fast as you can and kind of use your arms a lot more to kind of pump over things so you're not just constantly hitting into the bumps. Definitely leaning before the turns as well helps a lot in this dusty stuff.
Find the smooth way around, stay off the brakes.
You just got to go for it and not try and rest, you know, like I was trying to rest, but then I was getting tired. I got more tired from trying to ease up a little bit. I think in this shit, you just got to go for it. There's no time to think, just keep it pinned everywhere.
Yeah, if you don't start getting swapped and go sideways, then it's definitely faster. Because it's a lot smoother on your hands and your legs, and the suspension just soaks it up better, and you can stay more in a straight line than if you're going slow on the brakes.
Turns on this track are like, you get in some pretty deep ruts with a lot of rocks in them, so you can't really go in and just lean in with the corner. You've got to kind of lean before the turn and just so your weight's on that side, so even if you do mess up, your bike will still kind of follow your body weight around the turn. So really got to set up early for these real dusty corners so you can allow for a little bit of drift and then go into the rut and your weight's still on the left hand side and just rail out. Trying not to use the brakes at all if possible, but sometimes a little rear brake doesn't hurt.
Get a little bit wider, kind of be in the center of your bike, feel all loose and carve into the berm.
There's a lot of support in this berm, so you can really just go nuts with it.
The number one thing to do is just to stay calm and relaxed. If you don't, you'll have no flow.
If you see someone looking good going through a turn, it might not necessarily be the best way to get through it, so go find your own way, don't be a sheep.
Learn how fast you can go around corners if you push it as fast as you can. Sometimes it just comes down to just going bananas really in a corner until you come off. You gotta lose it. When I say about pushing it till you fall off, you can look at Earth's video and you got Rennie and you got Hill pushing switchbacks until they're off the bike. Will Longdon, he's off the bike, and you'll see it. These guys are, you know, really trying it as much as they can really.
Approach a route thinking you're going to slip, it's almost always the case that you do actually slip out on the route. believe you're going to grip or don't think about slipping, you usually get through.
When you get into the gate, you got to be ready to win, think win, and believe that you're going to win.
All those key skills and stuff like that, right? I think the key element to being able to be a good downhiller is just having it in your head to just go, like Bryn Atkinson, to go nuts really.
Like with all riding, once you get comfortable, do this. Don't just do this straight out because you are going to hurt yourself.
I tell you, footwear is so important, so important. I mean, on a wet day, who the hell wants to be walking on the hill in slippers? It's just bananas. Don't get it.
Yeah, there's a definite degree when you're watching people riding, like the Don, he's ragged as hell and makes it look a little bit faster sometimes.
Here we go again. Another thing we didn't talk about is in those flat spots between the roots, you need a pedal. If you see G. Atherton, he won't be cruising through the flat spots, he'd be on the flipping gas, pedaling through them to get even more speed over the next section.
Thanks very much for joining me here in the J in France. This was Route Techniques and happy trails.
Get some good roost off the horse shit and the chestnuts this time of year.
What kind of chestnuts?
Billy, what kind of chestnuts?
Click nuts.
Horse chestnuts and horse shit. Good roost.
Anything with the word horse.
Okay, so now we've got to undo the master calendar.
Like all riding, don't just go straight out and do this. Practice a little bit before you do it, and I'm sure you'll be fine once you've got it.
Ah, so you
that
fancy
didn't make
some
sense.
kung fu? Well, try this.